Okay, so in today's session, we are going to learn about voucher types, voucher numbering, and invoice mode. So in the previous sessions, we have already seen how to create a company, how to create ledgers, and how to create groups and all the other masters. And from this session onward, we are going to the transaction side. So in order to post the transactions, we require voucher types. So in Tally, we post the transactions in voucher types. So different transactions will be having its own vouchers. So let's see what it is and let's move forward. Okay. So let's start with voucher numbering. So what is a voucher? So we have to understand what is the purpose of voucher and why it is used and what is the importance of the voucher. Okay. So first let's see voucher is a document that records a financial transactions. So in Tally, all the transactions are entered through voucher screen. So different voucher examples we can see in the right side here: purchase bill, sales invoice, payment receipt, and bank deposit slip. So from here we can understand that different voucher types are used for different types of transactions. For example, if you are making a payment, okay, if you're making a payment for an expense or for a third party, or everything will be going through payment vouchers. You can see below in the example side, if you are making a rent payment, it should be posted through payment voucher. And if you are selling any goods, it should go through sales voucher. And if you are receiving any sorts of amount from a third person, you have to post it in receipt voucher. So in order to understand this, let me show you how it appears in Tally. Okay. So let me share my Tally screen. So here you will be able to see in the gateway of Tally. In the gateway of Tally, we are in the gateway of Tally. So here you can see under the transactions column, there is an option called vouchers. Okay. So if you select vouchers, so previously we have seen the shortcut keys and all. So in this voucher, what is the shortcut key? The bold letter in the vouchers in the top is showing it as B. So just press B and it will take us to the voucher entry screen. So currently we are in Contra. Okay. So Contra is the voucher type screen over here. So if you see into the right side, you can see Contra, payment, receipt, journal, sales, purchase, other vouchers. So these are the different kinds of voucher types which we use to post a particular transactions. Okay. So each and every voucher type has its own role. Okay. So from this payment, so we can understand that all sorts of payment that we have to make to a third person, we post it through payment voucher. If you are receiving any amount, you have to post it through a receipt voucher. So if you are selling anything, it should go through sales voucher. So like this, we have to, every transactions are having its own in particular voucher types. Okay. So let us come back to the slide. Yes. So why are vouchers important? Okay. So why are vouchers important? So voucher is very much important for a business. Okay. So if you want to post any sorts of transaction, a voucher type is very much important. Okay. So four key reasons every business needs the voucher. You can see here we have record transaction. Okay. So every business transaction is stored through vouchers. So if you're using Tally, all the transactions, all the journal entries which you want to input should go through vouchers. Okay. Without voucher entries, we won't be able to post a transaction in Tally. Okay. And next one, we can see it as maintain accuracy. So proper voucher selection ensures accurate accounting. So earlier we have seen different types of voucher type like sales voucher, purchase vouchers, payment voucher, receipt voucher, contra voucher, like that. Okay. So you have to make sure you are posting the transaction in the corresponding correct vouchers. Okay. So if you are making a rent payment, okay, earlier we have seen rent payment should always go through payment voucher type. Okay. And if you are receiving any commission or if you are receiving any income, it should go through receipt voucher. Okay. So if you make a mistake, for example, you are posting the transaction rent payment. So instead of payment voucher, if you select receipt, what will happen is it will show as you are receiving the rent. So that is wrong. So it is very much important that you select the appropriate voucher type while posting the transaction. Okay. So that is why accuracy maintain. So voucher helps us to maintain accuracy. Okay. And next one is support audits. So auditors verify the financial records using voucher entries. Okay. So since we are giving the auditors access to Tally, what they will do is they will go and check different types of voucher types. Okay, so we have different voucher types: payment, receipt, sales, purchase, like that. Okay. So if the auditor wants, he will go to the particular voucher report and then they will do the sampling. Okay. So it makes their work easy. Okay. So if we don't have this different types of voucher type, all the transactions will be in a single voucher. Okay. So in order to avoid that confusion, we have different kinds of voucher types in Tally. So that is why it is very important to post the transaction in their respective voucher type. Okay. And lastly, this kinds of vouchers helps us to generate the report much easier. Okay. So while we are creating a voucher reports, this voucher type, if you post the transaction in the correct vouchers, the report generation will be correct. Okay. So all the profit and loss account, balance sheet, day book, and GST reports are generated from the vouchers. So this is the importance of a voucher. So it helps us to record transaction, maintain accuracy, it supports audit, and it generates a report. Okay. So let's see the different types of vouchers in Tally. Okay. So which are the different types of vouchers in Tally? Let's see. So this 8 voucher types are the important accounting vouchers in Tally. Okay. So we are going in this session, we will be going through the accounting voucher section. So these are the important 8 voucher types in Tally. Okay. So where we can see this, if you from the gateway of Tally, if you go to vouchers, the gateway of Tally, you just press V and it will take you to the voucher entry screen. And there we will be able to see contra, payment, receipt, journal, sales, purchase, credit note, and debit note. Okay. So what is contra? So contra, the shortcut key is for contra is F4, payment is F5, receipt is F6, journal F7, sales F8, purchase F9, credit note is Alt F6, and debit note is Alt F5. Okay. So let's see this how it comes in Tally. Okay. So let me open Tally. And here we already seen in the right side contra F4, shortcut key for contra is F4. So right now we are in sales voucher type. In the top left, you can see accounting voucher creation. So this is the screen where we create accounting voucher. So the bottom of that, we can see which voucher type we are currently in. Okay. So currently we are in the sales voucher. Now let us assume that we need to post a contra entry. Okay. So in that case, what we will have to do, we can either use the mouse, drag it along, and then click contra. Okay. But instead of that, we already know we have shortcut keys. So just need to press F4. So when you press F4, you can see the screen changed and it took us to the contra entry screen. So right now we are currently in contra voucher and you can see double entry. This is currently in double entry mode, credit and debit. Okay. So this is the accounting voucher. The next we can see payment, then receipt, journal, sales, purchase, other vouchers. So if you click on other vouchers, okay, so if you click on other vouchers, you will be able to see all the different types of voucher types. Okay. So before we continue, let me tell you one more thing. Tally has 4 types of modules. 4 modules are available in Tally. So those are accounting module, inventory. Then if you click on show inactive, it will show us order vouchers and payroll vouchers. So these are the 4 different types of modules or different types of vouchers types in Tally. Okay. So if you enable order vouchers or if you enable payroll voucher, this will be activated. Currently, this is inactive. So that is why it is showing as inactive. So if you click on hide inactive, it will remove those. Then you will only be able to see the accounting vouchers and inventory vouchers. Okay. So these are the default accounting vouchers: contra, credit note, debit note, journal, purchase, payment, receipt, and sales. Okay. So let's go through one by one and what it is mean. Okay. So first we can start with contra. So contra voucher is very important. Okay, so contra entry is very important. So the shortcut key for contra we already seen it as F4. So contra vouchers is used to post the transaction which has either bank or cash in the debit or credit side. Okay. So all sorts of bank and cash transfers. Okay. We use contra voucher to post. Okay. So for example, cash deposit, cash withdrawal, bank transfers. These are the main important three scenarios. Okay. So which are the important three scenarios? Cash deposit, cash withdrawal, and bank transfers. So always you have to remember. So whenever you are depositing cash into bank, you will be thinking, okay, cash is going out from my hand, so it is payment. No, you have to think that this cash is going from your account to your cash account to your own bank account. So the amount is not going outside of the company or your organization. So it is kind of an internal transfer. Okay. So for that purpose, we must post it in contra voucher and make sure you're not posting it in payment voucher. Okay. Because even though cash is going out from your hand to your bank account, it is considered as internal transfer because money is always in your company only. Okay. Just that it is in a different account. From a cash account, it goes to your bank account. So in those kinds of transaction, we use contra voucher. So for example, we can see the example cash deposited into bank. We will be debiting the bank account and we are crediting the cash. So this accounting entry, we must post it in contra voucher, not in payment. Okay. And cash withdrawn from bank. Now in this scenario, we can see we are withdrawing money from our bank account. Okay. So we are getting cash. Okay. That does not mean that it is a receipt. Okay. This also from our own bank account, we are taking some money. So the money is coming from our side only. It is not, we are not getting this from a third person. Okay. So that also we must post it in contra voucher since it is a cash and bank transfer transaction. And lastly, we are having transfer between banks. I have multiple accounts, bank accounts. So I'm transferring some amount from my HDFC account or SBI account to any other bank account of ours. Okay. So this is the purpose of contra voucher. All the internal transfers is dealing via cash or bank account. We must post using contra vouchers. Shortcut key is F4. Okay. So you can see in the bottom a note is given used when money moves between cash and bank accounts. Okay. So one more time, if the debit or credit contains only cash or bank account, then you must use contra vouchers for all sorts of cash and bank transfer transactions. Okay. So that is the purpose of contra voucher. So I hope it is clear. This is very much important. You must understand the base of this. Okay. So just the basic means just the bank transfers or cash transfers. So the internal transfer, all sorts of internal transfer which require money or cash or bank transfers, you must post it using contra voucher. Okay. So next one is payment voucher. So as the name suggests, we can see payment voucher. So all sorts of payments. Okay. All sorts of payment. If money is going outside from your hand to a third person. Okay. So if you are giving some amount to a third party, all those transactions must come under payment voucher. So shortcut key is F5 and it is used to recording money paid to by the business. So if our business is paying money to a third person, if money is going out from our account to a different person's account, okay, not from our cash account to our bank account, from our cash account to different person's account, or from our bank account to a different person's bank account or cash. Okay. So those kinds of entries we must enter through payment voucher. Okay. So we can see three examples here. So first example is rent paid. Okay. So rent paid means we are paying a rent. So from our bank account or from our cash account, we are taking some amount and we are giving it to a third person. Okay. So for that reason, we must post it in payment voucher. So we have to debit the rent expense and we have to credit our cash or bank account. Okay. So here one is an expense and the other one is cash or bank. So in this case, we must post it in payment voucher. Okay. But if the debit is cash or bank and the credit is also cash or bank, in that case, we have to use contra voucher. Okay. So here we are using payment voucher because amount for the cash account is reducing and we are giving it to a third person. Okay. So that is why pay rent paid expense, we are making payment through payment voucher. Okay. And then next is electricity bill paid. This also we are making a payment to the electricity board. Okay. So for that reason, we have must use it under payment voucher. The transaction should be posted through payment voucher. And supplier payments. And supplier payment means we are purchasing something from our supplier for credit. And after one or two few days, we are making the payment to our supplier. So that also the money is going out from our account to a third person's account. So because of that, we must use it. We must post it under payment voucher. Okay. So here we can see the note. Whenever money goes out of the business, a payment voucher is used. Okay. So this is also very much important. Okay. So this is payment voucher. Shortcut key is F5. Okay. And next is receipt voucher. So this is the exact opposite of payment voucher. So in this case, what will happen? We are receiving money. Instead of giving out money, we are receiving money from third person. Okay. So in that case, we must use payment receipt voucher. Okay. If we are receiving money from a third party, we must use receipt voucher. Shortcut key is F6. So from gateway of Tally, we have to go to vouchers, and from there you just need to press F6 and it will take you to receipt voucher. Okay. So it is used to record money received by the business. Okay. All the kind of amount you are receiving from a third person. Okay. Not cash withdrawal or not bank transfers. Okay. If you are receiving the money from a third person, from a different person apart from your business, can be considered as a receipt voucher. It should be posted using receipt voucher. Okay. So a few examples, customer payment received. So you sold something to a customer and later he is giving you the payment. So you are receiving the amount. So you are debiting your bank or cash account and you are crediting the customer. So you must use a receipt voucher in this scenario. Okay. So since you are receiving the cash or bank transfer from the third person. And next is commission received. So this also you are receiving the money. You are debiting cash or bank and you are crediting the income. So in this scenario, you must use a receipt voucher to post the transaction. Okay. So here you can see whenever money comes into business, a receipt voucher is used. So few examples, customer payment received, commission received. Another example, we can consider it as capital introduced. So your company is receiving money in the form of capital from a person. Okay. So even though you are the owner, okay, if you are in a company, company is considered as separate entity from the owner. Okay. So in that case, you can consider it as a receipt, not contra. Okay. Because the owner and the company will be having different bank accounts. Okay. So that is also an example of receipt voucher, capital introduction. Okay. And next we can see is one of the important voucher type in Tally, journal voucher. The shortcut key for journal voucher is F7. Okay. So this is used to post all the non-cash adjustment entries. Okay. So all the transactions which is non-cash or non-bank in nature, we post it using journal voucher. So if the debit or credit does not contain cash or bank account, we post it using journal voucher. So it will be either having income, expense, liability, or asset. Okay, not cash or bank. All the transaction apart from cash or bank, we post it in journal voucher. Okay, so that is also known as adjustment entries. For example, salary outstanding, depreciation, and provision entries. So these are few of the examples of journal voucher. And one more thing, we can see journal voucher in case of if you cannot find a voucher type to post a transaction. Like payment does not, this transaction does not come under payment, receipt, sales, purchase, debit note, credit note, contra. Then it will come under journal voucher. Okay. So journal voucher is once again, it is the one of the most important voucher type in Tally. Shortcut key is F7 and it is used to post non-cash adjustment entries. Okay. So salary outstanding. This example we can see salary outstanding. The debit side is salary expense. The credit side is outstanding salary. All the three transactions before this we have seen, we have either cash or bank in the debit or credit side. But here we can only see either debit, either expense or an liability. Okay. So this is the example of journal voucher. So depreciation. Depreciation accounted to furniture and provision entry, bad and expense debtor to provision for bad debts. Okay. So these kinds of entries, all the adjustment entries we have to post using journal voucher in Tally. Okay. So journal vouchers are generally used for adjustment entries at the end of a period. Okay. So this is the purpose of a journal voucher. So end of the period can be at the end of the month. If you want to post the outstanding salary, we can post it at the end of the month. In case of depreciation, normally companies post it at the end of the year. Okay, so that is the meaning of end of a period. It can either be a month, it can either be an year. Okay, financial year. Okay, so all sorts of adjustment entry, that is non-cash or non-bank transactions. It comes under journal voucher. So I hope it is clear. So it is very, very important. You have to understand this before you move forward. Okay. So let's see the next one. It is F8, sales voucher. So sales voucher shortcut key is F8. As the name indicates, we can understand that all the sales transaction. If you're selling an item to a party, or if it is a cash sale, credit sale, whichever kinds of sale, it goes under sales voucher. Okay. So it records the sale of goods or services. So if you are selling any service or if you're providing any service or if you're selling any inventory, everything goes through sales voucher. Example, we can see you are selling a laptop of 50,000. So we have to debit the customer and we have to credit the sales account. Okay. So sales vouchers are essential for tracking business income and customer balances. Okay. So that is the purpose of sales voucher. So you have to post all the sales transaction. If you're selling something to a party, then that transaction must go through sales voucher. The shortcut key is F8. Okay. So if you post a sales voucher, it will increase your revenue. Okay. So if you're selling something, that means you are earning something. Okay. So that is an income for you. Okay. So that is sales voucher. And next is purchase voucher. Shortcut key is F9. It's the exact opposite of sales voucher. And we already know what is the purpose of this voucher. It is used to record the purchase of goods or services. If you are receiving any service from a third person, or if you are receiving any goods, if you are purchasing some goods from a third person, all sorts of transaction like that you must post using purchase voucher. Shortcut key is F9. Okay. We can see the example, inventory purchase for 40,000. You have to debit the purchase account and you have to credit the supplier account. So you can see purchase voucher records business purchases. So once again, if you're purchasing something, whether it can be a service or whether it can be goods or inventory, it should be posted using purchase voucher. Okay. So purchase vouchers track all procurement transaction and supplier liabilities. So all sorts of purchases that you make, whether it be cash or credit purchase, it should go through purchase voucher. Okay. So that is the use of purchase voucher. The next comes debit note and credit note. So it is used to post the returns and adjustments. Okay. So credit note means sales return. So if you purchase, if you sell something and if your customer is returning some goods to you, you have to post the sales return entry. So in order to post a sales return entry, you have to use credit note. Okay. and the customer returns goods worth rupees 2000. So you have to debit the sales return and you have to credit the customer. It reduces the customer liability. Okay. So let me show how to select the credit note in Tally. So let me open Tally. So when you check in the right side of where we can find the credit note and debit note, it is not seen here. Okay, here we only have contra, payment, receipt, journal, sale, purchase. Okay, but if you want to see credit note or debit note, you can either press F10. Okay, and then you can see inside credit note and debit note. Okay, but instead of that, if you want to directly access the credit note, you only need to press Alt and F6. Your shortcut key is Alt F6 and it will take you to credit note. That is sales return. Okay. So here also you can see it is in double entry mode. If you want to go to debit note, the shortcut key is Alt F5. Okay. So Alt F5 is for purchase return or debit note and Alt F6 is for sales return or credit note. Okay. So credit note is sales return, credit note is sales return, and debit note is purchase return. Okay. So here in the debit note, shortcut key is Alt plus F5, and credit note, the shortcut key is Alt plus F6. Okay, you have to press and hold Alt, press F6 at the same time. It will take you to credit note. At the same time, if you want to access purchase return or debit note, press and hold Alt button and then select F5. So it will take you to debit note. So debit note is used to post a purchase return. So you can see goods returned to supplier worth 3000. We have purchased items worth 10,000. Now we are returning 3,000 to our supplier. In earlier case, we have to pay 10,000 to the supplier, but since we are returning item to the supplier, 3,000 can be reduced. Okay, so we are debiting the supplier and we are crediting purchase return for 3,000. So it reduced the amount payable to supplier. Earlier it was 10,000. Now since we return 3,000, we only need to pay 7,000 rupees. Okay, so that is the use of purchase returns. Okay, so these are the 8 accounting vouchers that you can find in Tally Prime. Okay, so let's see here in the other vouchers. You can contra, credit note, debit note, journal, payment, purchase, receipt, and sales. These are the 8 accounting vouchers that is available in Tally Prime. Okay. So I hope this part is clear as for accounting vouchers.